If you're part of the nonprofit world, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Year-end fundraising. It can feel like a sprint, a marathon, and a giant puzzle, all at the same time. Well, today, we're going to break down a framework to help you cut through that chaos with a whole lot more confidence. Let's dive in.
So let's just start with the big question, the one that I'm sure is on your mind. Why does it feel like you're working twice as hard just to get the same results, or maybe even less? I'm here to tell you it is not just you. This is a pressure the entire sector is feeling right now.
And to really get our arms around that, here's our game plan. First, we're going to define the problem, something fundraising expert Jenna Lynch calls the triple squeeze. Then we'll pivot to the solution, how to be more intentional. We'll walk through a super practical playbook, learn a simple but powerful success formula, and then of course wrap it all up with your key takeaways.
All right, first things first. Let's put a name to what you're actually up against. Because, really understanding the challenges, that's always the first step toward beating them.
In this concept, the triple squeeze, it just perfectly captures the current climate. See, it's not just one thing making fundraising harder. It's this perfect storm of three powerful forces all hitting you at once.
And here they are. Squeeze number 1. Individual donors are giving to fewer organizations. They're simplifying. Squeeze 2, grant funding has become way less predictable, right? And squeeze 3, at the very same time, the demand for your services is probably skyrocketing. So you're being asked to do more with less funding and fewer donors. That is the squeeze.
So, how in the world do you fight back against that? Well, it's not with more frantic, random activity. It's actually with a strategic pause. Let's talk about the antidote, making that critical shift from being reactive to being proactive.
So many of us fall into this spray and pray trap. We just throw everything at the wall, hoping something, anything, will stick. The alternative is an intentional strategy. This is where every single email, every social media post, every phone call has a clear purpose that's tied to a specific goal. It's really about working smarter, not just harder. And look, this doesn't have to be complicated. It really boils down to 4 simple steps. 1. Define what success actually looks like. 2. Choose the big picture strategies to get you there. 3. Break those down into focused day-to-day tactics. And 4, this is maybe the most important, stay consistent. This approach brings so much clarity and focus to your work.
Okay, let's get really practical. Knowing the why is one thing, but you need the how. So this next section is your month-by-month playbook for a much less stressful and much more successful year-end campaign.
See how manageable this feels when you break it down? September is all about warming up your donors. We're not asking for money yet, we're just connecting and sharing impact stories. October is where you finalize your plans and create all your content. November? That's go time. You launch everything across all your channels. And December is all about keeping that momentum going and, crucially, stewardship, thanking your donors and showing them the amazing impact they had.
Now, running underneath that whole playbook is a really simple philosophy that should guide every single decision you make. We're calling it the 3C success formula. It all comes down to these 3 things: connection, retention, and clarity. Connection is about building real, authentic relationships. Retention is about loving the donors you already have. And clarity is about knowing the why behind every single thing you do. If you can get these 3 pillars right, you are setting yourself up for success way beyond just this year-end. Okay, this is so important. This is connection in action. Look at the difference. Instead of saying, "We provided backpacks," you say, "Because of your support." It's a tiny change, but you just made the donor the hero of the story. That is an incredibly powerful shift.
Next up, retention. And, well, this number should be a massive wake-up call for all of us. A staggering 80% of first-time donors are lost. They never give a second gift. Just think about that. We work so hard to bring them in the front door, and then we just let them slip out the back. This is probably the single biggest opportunity for most nonprofits. And if that number didn't convince you, just look at this chart. This is the why retention is so critical. A small, just 10% increase in how many donors you keep can boost the lifetime value of those donors by up to 200%. That is an unbelievable return on investment. It is so much cheaper and more effective than constantly chasing new donors.
And that brings us to our final C, clarity. This is all about asking why. Why are we sending this email? Why are we holding this event? Clarity means you stop saying, "because we've always done it this way," and you start saying, "because the data shows us this is what works." It's about being purposeful.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's boil this all down into a final, super simple checklist of the most important things you can start doing like today.
Here it is, your action plan. Start early. September is your best friend. Segment your donors. A one-size-fits-all message just doesn't work. Focus like a laser on retention. Make your donor the hero every time with that you language. And finally, thank them. Thank them. Thank them quickly and meaningfully. It really is that simple and that powerful. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this one question to think about. Forget about trying to overhaul everything at once. Just ask yourself, what is the one intentional, purposeful thing you will do differently this year to connect with your donors? Because that one little change, it could truly make all the difference.